The night was pitch black when I got out of the car that had stalled on the outskirts of the Red Forest. The darkness seemed alive, enveloping me from all sides as I tried to figure out what had happened to the engine. God damn it. The engine died again, I muttered, looking around the empty road. My fingers trembled as I opened the hood, and the unbearably bright flashlight hit my eyes. The engine was dead, just like every sound in this terrible place.
Get out of here.
A quiet voice whispered in my ear. The voice was soft, but I clearly heard those words. I turned around, but there was no one there. Only thick fog rising from the ground, enveloping my legs. I decided to walk through the forest, hoping to find help or at least cell service. The forest seemed endless. Every step brought a feeling that I was getting closer to something unknown, something terrifying. The tree branches looked like hands trying to grab me, but I pushed forward. Suddenly, I noticed something strange on the ground, bloody tracks. Is this some kind of prank? My voice rang out in the air, which instantly became even heavier. The tracks led to an abandoned house, half ruined and leaning to the side. I opened the creaky door and saw something that changed my life forever. The room was dark, but my eyes quickly adjusted to the dim light. Bodies lay on the floor, their faces twisted in pain and horror. Blood was everywhere on the walls, on the furniture, even on the ceiling. I barely held back my vomit when I saw this. Jesus Christ, I whispered, trying not to attract more attention. Suddenly, I heard a sound footsteps. Someone was coming towards me. I stood by the door and prepared my Glock to fire. I told you not to come here. What was unclear about that, a man emerged from the darkness, covered in blood. His eyes glowed with hatred, and he held an axe in his hands.
What's that in your hand?
He said, coming closer. I wanted to avoid this fight and started running towards the door, but he was faster. The axe flashed in the air, and I felt something warm trickling down my arm. I started shooting at him, but the bullets went right through him.
There's nowhere for you to run,
he said confidently, and charged at me with another axe. I pulled the axe out of my shoulder and began to fight him, knocking the axe out of his hands, and started running, covering my shoulder with a rag. I thought that was the end, but I was wrong. The room suddenly filled with cold air, and the corpses began to move. Their eyes opened, dead hands reached out for me. I was surrounded. Damn it, I shouted. I broke through the crowd, feeling the dead hands grabbing at my clothes. I ran through the forest without looking back. Blood and terror pursued me at every step. When I finally ran out of the forest, the air became clearer, but the fear did not leave me. Blood gushed like never before, and I found a small town where the door of one house was open. Help me, I shouted, and fell exhausted to the ground. An old woman helped me, bandaged my shoulder, and fed me.
Are you from there?
She asked, her voice full of compassion and fear. I'm just passing through. My car broke down in some forest, and I had to go looking for help. Then I found some cabin with corpses, and a crazy guy who nearly killed me.
Ah, so you're from that bloody forest. Now it's clear.
She handed me a cup of hot tea, and I sat by the fire, trying to warm up. What do you mean? I asked, clutching the cup with trembling hands.
The legend says that a maniac's spirit lives in the forest. He loved killing locals so much. Once they finally found him and hanged him, they threw his body in a pit and buried it. After that, his blood soaked into the ground, and now he takes revenge on anyone who dares to enter his domain.
Her words sent a chill down my spine. I need to go, I said, getting up. I can't stay here. Be careful. You have the mark of a victim on your shoulder, she warned. They will come for you. I went outside and only now felt the severe pain in my shoulder. I headed to the nearest library to find out if there was any way to get rid of the mark or kill that maniac. Digging through old manuscripts, I found information about ghosts, stating that they could be temporarily repelled with holy salt and killed by salting their body and burning it. It all seemed straightforward, but there was one problem. I had to dig up the entire forest in search of his body. After leaving the library, there was limited time left. I went to the church and bought holy salt. Then I went to an ammunition store and got a sawed-off shotgun, made cartridges with holy salt, and headed to my pickup. When I got to the pickup, I took out a pack of cigarettes and lit one. "What luck to get into such shit," I muttered. "Hey bastard, I know you hear me with your zombies. I will avenge you doubly for this," I shouted. A very cold wind blew after these words. I stubbed out the cigarette, took a shovel from the trunk, poured some gasoline into a canister, and went to find that damn corpse. How do I plan to find him in this big forest? Quite easily. I think he is buried behind the cabin where there were many corpses. I'll just check if he's there. If not, I'll burn the cabin and search elsewhere.
Oh, you came by yourself. I was about to go look for you,
he said. "I see you're bored here. Decided to give you a farewell gift like a lightning bolt." The monster appeared in front of me. Up close, he was so hideous and terrifying that I'd rather gouge out my eyes than see him again.
"Wretch, how dare you threaten me?"
he said. After these words, he lightly touched me with his finger, and I was already lying under a tree, barely alive. He approached to finish me off, saying,
"New flesh. You will make a fine specimen."
I'd barely reached for the loaded shotgun and fired at him. He disappeared. I got up, sat for a while, recovering from the blow. With a broken shoulder, ribs, and fingers on my left hand, I still dug up that bastard's body, salted and burned it along with his cabin and the corpses inside. After that, I left that place forever and never went back there again.